Howdy. Welcome back to the top 10 albums of Metallica. Continuing with number 5, we have Metallica, released in 1991. Your top tracks are going to be Sad But True, The Unforgiven, and Through the Never. Using its government name here, the album is called Metallica. It's a self-titled, but us cool kids, we call it the Black Album. Of course, the Black Album. We're dealing with the big boys here. And the biggest reason why this album falls into the top 5, it's not just because of the songs that are on here. It's not just because of what this album did for heavy metal or what this album did for the band themselves. Launched them into a whole different stratosphere. That's all well and good. But what really gets my jimmies going is the production. Producer Bob Rock, he was on his A game and he was going to stop at nothing to make sure that Metallica was on their A game as well. And I believe that the proof is in the pudding. This is a damn good album, one of the most legendary albums of all time. Whether or not you agree with the songs, like the different direction they went with it, we'll get into all that. Not going to change the fact that this is one of the most legendary albums to ever hit our ears. So let's not waste any more time and get into it. My name is TJ Stevens. This is the Black Album. So honestly, what do you want me to say about the opener to this album, Enter Sandman? I can go on and on all day for 10 hours talking about this song. I will not tell you a single thing that you don't know about this song. This is Metallica's biggest song ever. Whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. It's their biggest song. Now for me, Enter Sandman, I can live without it. Take it or leave it. Like I said, I've heard it so many times with this fucking song. Anytime a biker comes up to you and you can hear their radio, 50% chance that they're going to be playing this song. Funny enough, Kirk Hammett has another writing credit on this one. He came up with the main riff that you hear on the verses, and it was Lars Ulrich that kind of changed the arrangements of that riff to make it as iconic as it is today. I'll tell you what, whatever Lars lacks in drumming ability, he more than makes up for it with his songwriting ability. A lot of these songs don't have that type of personality if Lars doesn't intervene, so you can always thank him for that. Enter Sandman, the music video is cool. Check out the music video. I like the themes of it all, dealing with nightmares and whatnot, but just as a song, heard it too many times. It's a great song. I'd rather play it. I'd rather play it live, but hey, it's Enter Sandman. You already know about it, so let's continue. Next, we got Sad But True. I was mentioning, we'll talk about the production, how this band went in a different style. Well, we were going balls to the walls with the first 4 albums, just so fast, so heavy, and so Metallica really wanted to rein that speed in a little bit, but still keep the weight of the songs. Sad But True is a perfect example about that. And that's where Bob Rock comes into play, because his production, his knowledge is what gives this album the girth that it has. And this song contains about 60% of said girth. It's a fucking heavy tune. It's probably my favorite track. I think it's in D standard or something like that. They tuned down for this song, and the effects that it has, it can't be replicated. But this is a time where you had to play it right the first time, and the fact that Metallica was willing to slow things down to try to accomplish what they wanted to do with this record is pretty impressive, because a lot of musicians will tell you that it's not going fast. That's the hard part. It's slowing down and trying to stay on time, especially for drummers. Once you have to slow yourself down and keep a slow pace throughout, that's when things get challenging. And Sad But True, it's, I wouldn't say it's slow, I wouldn't say it's plodding, but you're stomping to that motherfucker. It's like a giant walking. You're not taking a lot of steps, but you're getting pretty far. You know what I mean? I love Sad But True. It's one of my favorite songs. After that, we have Holier Than Thou. I don't really care about Holier Than Thou. I can take it or leave it. But funny enough, this is the song that James and Bob Rock, they were really heavy on this one. They wanted this song to open up the album. They wanted this song to be the lead single for this album. And again, Lars is the one that stepped in. It's no. We have Enter Sandman. That's the one. So I don't imagine things would be too much different for the band had Holier Than Thou been the number one single. I'm sure we still would have gotten Sandman eventually, but it definitely would have changed things a little bit. So again, Thank Lars for that. But Holier Than Thou as an actual song, it's not my favorite. One of my favorites, though, is the next track, The Unforgiven. Good Lord, man, The Unforgiven. I probably listened to this song like, 15 times straight in my early teens, something like that. Once I discovered just the dynamics that Metallica can work with, and these hard choruses, soft verses, or vice versa. What they used to do before was they'd have these soft verses and go into heavy choruses. The band wanted to switch that and make hard verses, soft choruses, or vice versa. I know I'm getting them mixed up, but you know what I mean. And with The Unforgiven, you have those very intense verses, those aggressive verses about talking about a man who's seeking forgiveness, but his past actions won't allow that, and more importantly, himself won't allow the forgiveness to be accepted. But then you get to the chorus, though, what I felt, what I've done, how soft it gets, and it's pretty. It's so fucking pretty. And, Bob's just really good at taking these specific harmonies that James wasn't messing with before and really amplified them. You have a whole new personality for not just this song, but the rest of the songs on the album. And I'd be remiss if I don't mention the fact that Bob Rock was like he was driving a nail into Kirk Hammett to write a solo for this song, and it just wasn't working. Like, Kirk was having problems with it. They were at a standstill. And so Bob got into his face and he said, "Give me the fucking Guitar of the Year solo." And lo and behold, right there in the studio, Kirk delivers the solo that you hear on the record. It might have been modified a little bit or re-recorded, but pretty much what he played is what you hear. And it's one of the most legendary solos of all time, not just for Kirk, but just period. So The Unforgiven, hell of a track, easy top 10 Metallica songs ever. Wherever I May Roam is a tricky one for me. I kind of like go on the fences about Wherever I May Roam. I didn't like it too much when I was a kid, and I got a new appreciation for it, and I'm just kind of like, whatever. So it's a 50-50 ball with me for Wherever I May Roam. I like the theme of the song. Where I lay my head is home. He's talking about tour life and, not ever being home. So wherever you're staying at that night, that is your home. So your home really doesn't exist. Somebody was talking about, I remember they have a documentary called A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica, and some fan was being asked about Wherever I May Roam, and he's talking about how a dude is constantly roaming through like an empty earth trying to find himself, but he never has the answer. It's not what the song is about, but I love that interpretation. That's the beauty of music, is that you can interpret these songs however you want. Whatever it does for you is what it does for you. It doesn't matter what it's supposed to be about. Well, it doesn't always matter. Sometimes it matters. Sometimes you need that context. But hey, it's music. We're just having fun. Also, fun fact, the first note that you hear on Wherever I May Roam is coming from a 12-string bass. That little loud bang. Yeah. The first time I heard that information, I was like, I didn't even know they made them that high. So, always interesting to hear that. Speaking of having fun, we got Don't Tread on Me. Don't Tread on Me, it's a fun song, I suppose. What gets me so much is that they use something from West Side Story. I think it was something coming to America, something coming to America. Like, they use that main melody. They were on a kick. I forgot to mention in my Justice review that they used the they used that from Wizard of Oz. Like, what the fuck were they on? That they just wanted to take all these old melodies from these old movies and just put it in there. It works, but Don't Tread on Me, it's not going to be my favorite song. I'll listen to it, but it's all right. Through the Never, though, I believe it's the fastest song on this record, and they took away that speed. They kind of diminished going that fast, but with Through the Never, they cranked it up just a little bit, and I think that it's a good song. It's just fast enough that it still maintains the theme of the album, but it doesn't go too crazy. They actually ended up releasing, it was like a live album / movie with James DeHaan, I think his name is. Hold up, let me look that up. It was the guy that played the Green Goblin in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Dane DeHaan. He played Trip. All the rest of them played themselves. So Through the Never is cool. It's cool enough to get its own movie, so it can't be that bad. I like the speed, I like the drums. It's just a banger. Not much more needs to be said. Coming up to our 8th track, we have Nothing Else Matters. So, I don't like ballads. I don't care what genre it is. I don't care if it's a hard rock ballad, a pop ballad. I just don't care about ballads. But I'd be lying to you if I said that Nothing Else Matters doesn't matter to me, because it definitely does. It was one of my old flames, like one of our songs back in the day, back in high school. My sister has a whole choreography to this song, and every time I listen to this song, I always think of her. Like I can't not. So even though like I can live without the song, I still can't help but crack a smile on my face when this track comes on, because I'm always just thinking about these good memories. Even learn how to play the fucking thing. It's so easy, because James was talking to his then girlfriend, might have been like his ex-wife at the time. I don't remember. He was talking to somebody on the phone, and he was just plucking the E, G, B, and high E string, and he was just fucking around. He only had one hand to work with, so not that first that first riff or first progression. That he was just bullshitting, and from that just came this whole song, this whole story. So it's pretty cool that music works like that. You know, you're just messing around, not even thinking about it, and you catch a spark, and all of a sudden that spark turns into this beautiful phoenix flame. I love it. So Nothing Else Matters. Hey man, it's not gonna be the first song I play, but if you want to listen to it, I'm glad to listen to it with you. A Wolfman is heavy as shit. Of Wolfen Man is heavy as shit. It's just about turning into a werewolf. Excuse me, I have a speech impediment. W's and R's are hell on my shit. But Of Wolfen Man, about a werewolf, shape shifting. That's pretty much what needs to be said, and the heaviness always matches it. The heaviness matches the theme with this song. You know, it's not gonna blow you away or anything, but it'll take care of you. It's a good tune. Excuse me. The God That Failed. So The God That Failed, you listen to it and you're like, the first thing you think of is, oh wow, bass. I didn't know they could do that. Thank Bob Rock for that. He was very deliberate in making sure that the low end of these frequencies were out there in the mix. No mistaking about it. It's one of the reasons why I love this album so much. If And Justice for All had this album's production, whoo-wee, it's a different story. But as it stands, it's not the case. I digress. So The God That Failed, dealing with James Hetfield grew up in a very religious family, like strictly religious. They didn't want him going to the hospitals, saying through the word of God, through the power of God, you can, this illness will be gone. And if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. So he had to deal with a lot of struggles within that field about having religion forced on him. And I want to say that, once his mom passed away, it's just like, okay, well, where was my God now? My God obviously failed. I don't think that's what this song is about, like specifically his mom, but it's in the ballpark of just when you have so much faith to something and that faith lets you down, what do I do now? So The God That Failed, it's perfect for that theme, and just the bass riff that happens in the song and which the guitars follow, man, is that heavy. I love that shit so much. The God That Failed, it would definitely be the number 4 track. If I had the top tracks, it's always 3. This would be the top 4. That's for sure. My Friend of Misery, another credit for bassist Jason Newsted. Keep stacking them up, big man. But My Friend of Misery kind of pisses me off. Kind of rustles my feathers just a little bit. I don't dislike the song. I actually really like the song. But Jason wrote this track with the intention that it was going to be an instrumental. And because Metallica had instrumentals on all their albums up to that point. But some plans changed. I don't know if it was James, Lars, Bob, I don't know, whatever. But they said, you know what? We'll just take that first riff and we'll just kind of go our own way with it. I don't like the lyrics, the vocals. They feel forced. They feel like they don't belong on this song. Had this just been a straight up instrumental track, especially with that bridge right before the solo. Oh my god, had it just been that, this would have been so much better than what it is. And it's still a good song. I might not be a fan of the vocals just because they feel forced, but they don't sound bad. I just wish that it was a straight instrumental and we would have kept that theme going, but unfortunately, that was one of the changes that were made when dealing with this album. It's one of the main reasons that a lot of people say that Metallica sold out with this album, not just with taking things slower, but now we don't have any instrumentals because instrumentals aren't mainstream. What the hell? They're sellouts. But this is probably the best case to say because now there's like 5 singles on this album that have music videos. Yeah, they definitely sold out. I'd say they bought in. What else were they going to do? They were on that trajectory. They were going to become global or at least national at that point. So who could have foreseen how this band would have just taken off after this album released? But that's neither here or there. I'm going off track. My Friend of Misery, decent track. Would have been a great track if it stayed an instrumental like Jason planned. Excuse me. So coming up to our closer, The Struggle Within. Hey, damn good closer. It's actually the second shortest song on the album, coming in at 3 minutes and 53 seconds. Second fastest on the album too, right behind Through the Never. I don't mind The Struggle Within. It's one of the most underrated Metallica tracks. Is it a great closer? I don't think so. I think there are some that are better, but just as a song itself, Struggle Within doesn't get nearly as much recognition as it does. I like the marching snare that you get. It makes you feel like you're going to war. I guess the struggle within is a war within yourself and trying to, figure all that, trying to rewire your brain and whatnot. But yeah, this is a slept-on song. And, it may not be a great closer, but it's a good way to close things out here. So that was the Black Album, coming in at 62 minutes, 31 seconds. Yeah. This album, sonically, or at least sonically, it does the most for me because of the production and just how impressive it is to know that this band really locked the fuck in for this album. We're going back to the days of before Pro Tools and all that stuff. So if you were recording music, you had to get your shit down the first fucking time. Whenever they say cut and edit, they had to cut that shit back in the day. Leaving it on the cutting room floor, people were leaving shit on the ground that just never saw the light of day. So the fact that this band spent 8 months recording this album showed how serious they were of just taking their prowess to another level. Because Bob Rock saw them live and he said, "You have not made an album that replicates what you do live in the studio." And he wanted to challenge them on that. Bob Rock challenging every member of the band to just be better absolutely worked volumes. And you see the production on display with this album. The songs are legendary. These are some of their most well-known songs ever, especially with Enter Sandman. Come on. When the record has their most famous song, obviously it's going to have a few more brownie points to that. But the songs are great. The production is even better. And that, for me, is why the Black Album is going to be number 5 on our list. You let me know where this album places on yours. Would you place it higher, lower, or take it off entirely? As always, let me know down below, and stay tuned.